Hey class, so we're going to get started today. We're going to do the same thing we did last time where we're going to watch two separate videos and then teach the other side of the class what you learned. I want to make sure that we're communicating well. So again, stop the video at any time if you need to. Ask me questions, ask your friend questions. We need to make sure we understand this information so that we can move forward in our lessons. So, this video is going to be about the Pacific Theater. The Pacific Theater is in the West. It's going to be mainly Japan versus America. We cannot look at the whole Pacific Theater because there's lots of battles, there's lots of different things that happen. But what I want to do, we talked about the attack on Pearl Harbor. It pretty much destroys the American fleet except for one thing. It was mostly successful for Japan, except that the American aircraft carriers were out on battle maneuvers during the attack. Okay, so this is really important. We watched that video clip of Pearl Harbor. It's very, very much a surprise. We have no idea that that's coming. America has all of their battleships that are in Pearl Harbor, and many of them are destroyed and not usable for weeks or months. Okay, that's really bad in the Pacific Theater when the majority of these battles are going to happen in the ocean. Aircraft carriers are very new things. Think about it. Why are aircraft carriers a new thing?
I'm thinking. It's
not happening with him.
They're a new thing because we haven't had airplanes for a very long time. This whole idea, if you think about it, of having jet planes and really fast planes landing on a little strip of moving boat, it is a really crazy thought. So during World War II, we have these aircraft carriers, and they have never been used the way they're going to be used during World War II. So what happens is these large ships are called aircraft carriers. They have flat tops, and they're supposed to be used as airports that can be taken across the ocean. America wanted revenge for Pearl Harbor, so what they end up doing is they have the Doolittle raids. How that is spelled will pop up on the screen. The Doolittle raids, they were bombings after Pearl Harbor that happened to the Japanese. The Americans are able to sneak into Japanese waters, and they are actually able to bomb the Japanese homeland. Now, they are not near as successful as Pearl Harbor. They are not anywhere as good. There's not a lot of things that are destroyed from these first few bombings. But there's a psychological aspect to them. You've got to think. Japan has been winning wars for lots and lots of time. Okay? They haven't lost a battle since the early 1930s. Okay, for them to get bombed is something that they were not expecting nor ready for. So, you need to make sure you have the Doolittle raids in that box. The Japanese responded to this, okay? So, Japan attacks us with Pearl Harbor, we respond with the Doolittle raids. Now they're going to respond again. They respond with planning the attack at Midway. Okay? The attack at Midway. The Battle of Midway was one of the first times that aircraft carriers would face off against each other. This is considered one of the turning points of the war. It's very important to understand that this kind of battle had never happened before. Everyone thought that battleships were the only way you were going to win a war. And America only had aircraft carriers to work with. So we had to make do. So what happens at the battle? Right before the battle, America is listening to Japanese over the radios and things like that. Well, the Japanese have a code. America's able to break this code, and they're able to find out that, hey, in this huge ocean, right, the Japanese are coming for Midway. So, America sends their fleet that way to prepare. What happens is, after they figure this out, Japan, Midway is getting prepared. They're building up defenses best they can, but they are a small island with not very many people on the island or not very many defenses. So Japan bombs Midway, and they bomb Midway terribly, okay? They bomb it really bad. If you stop the battle right there, you can kind of see, hey, the Japanese might win this. But what happens is, that's when the American fleet springs its trap. The Japanese have no idea they're there, and the Americans are going to attack. And they would attack when the Japanese were trying to change and reload their airplanes. So, these airplanes are on the deck. That's my wife. The airplanes are on the deck, right? And so we're changing from bombs. So bombs are going to be used for whenever the planes are attacking the actual town and the actual island of Midway on the ground. You have to use torpedoes to attack ships. So while they're changing on the deck of the ship, America attacks these ships. So guess what happens? All these explosives that are on top of these Japanese battleships, these Japanese aircraft carriers, are going to be exploded. So what happens is these three aircraft carriers are destroyed in this battle, and America is able to regain dominance in the Pacific. This is going to lead to our second portion of the war in the Pacific, where we are island hopping and taking back these areas that Japan has taken from us. Now, we're going to discuss this with our classmates, so make sure you are prepared and ready for this.